Strap in for the world's fastest half hour. You're on the Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. And brought to you by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Herbert and Marty Hough.
This is the Straight Line on Drag Racing. Thanks for stopping by our half hour of horsepower. Appreciate you being with us. As we head to Vegas this weekend, we'll talk to the defending winner in the funny car division, Tommy Johnson Jr., as well as the quickest man in NHRA history, our good buddy Clay Millican. The burnout is complete, and we're set to launch another edition of the Straight Line. Wherever you may be, coast to coast, around the world, this is the Straight Line on Drag Racing at MRN.com. Along with four-time IHRA Top Fuel champion and 10-time NHRA National Event winner Doug Herbert, I am Marty Hough, as we are getting ready to go four-wide racing in Las Vegas. No longer just in Charlotte, Las Vegas also on the schedule. They've got a brand new racetrack there with four lanes, and we are ready to go. As a matter of fact, usually we do a little intro, we do a little of this, a little of that, we take a break, and then we go to our first guest. Not today. On the line with us is the quickest man in NHRA history. He is the driver of the Great Clips Parts Plus Top Fuel Dragster for Stringer Performance. Our good friend Clay Millican joins us. Clay, where are you?
Man, I am in Drummond, Tennessee.
What?
Got my bag packed. I am ready to fly out in the morning.
We're flying now. So the motorhome stays at home for Las Vegas.
That's a long way to go from Drummond. I'll tell you, I let them kids that drive the big truck get everything out there, and then I'll fly out there and join them tomorrow. And I think it's going to be a hot weekend out there. I don't know if we'll see any records, but I can tell you this: we're going to see four wide, and I'm excited about it. I like it.
Well, yeah, the only place we've had four wide, Clay, is here at, in Charlotte, and now coming up with four wide out there in Vegas. It kind of makes sense. That's, the show and glitter and all that stuff. But the West Coast people, it'll be the first time they've been able to see the four wide. What's your, so you like the four wide? What's your opinions on it?
Well, I tell you, if you look at all the social media stuff, it's like, I'm not watching or I'm not going. But I know this. Talked with Jeff Foster a little bit, who runs the track out there. The ticket sales are booming, and you got to think about it this way. In other forms of motorsports, they're not adding to the racetracks. They're taking grandstands away. They're doing all these things to make it look full. Well, guess what? We sold out in Gainesville, and they spent no telling how much money to make this track four wide. It is a show that has to be seen. I mean, you think about it, 40,000 horsepower, everybody stomping on the loud pedal all at one time. I mean, it's just a great show. It's a little different, a little bit confusing at times for the drivers and the crew chiefs trying to get everybody staged up. But, man, what an exciting show.
Clay, so far this year, 2018, has started out pretty good. You're number 3 in points. You've had a couple semi-finishes. You had Lowy T of all time out of Pomona, number 1 qualifier top speed at Gainesville. The year you got some momentum, dude. You're on it right now. This is really good to see.
I like how you say I'm on it, but the truth is, it's Grubby and Max Savage and all them kids working on that thing. I mean, I've just been enjoying the ride, trying not to screw it up.
Well,
it's been amazing. They really have got that car running good, and what they're doing right now is just awesome. Small little team, working out of Doug Stringer's backyard, the Nitro Barn, as we like to call it, and they just know how to get it done, and man, oh man, the car's really good right now.
Clay, tell us, you and I talked earlier this week, and these cars are expensive. You're going against really well-financed teams like Schumacher and Coletta and Force. Everybody sees you out there racing and all your stuff looks shiny and bright and looks great, but you're always looking for more sponsorship to support so that you can compete for that championship. And then I'm guessing that's the same thing as you're looking for a little bit this year. You're near number 3. You only got 2 spots to move up before the end of the year.
I know it. I mean, you're right. I mean, we are a very small team. If you look at what we're racing against, and if you came to the shop and saw that all the fancy equipment we got is pretty much a a drill press and a bandsaw. You know, we don't have we don't have all the CNC machines and blower dynos, clutch dynos. We have none of that stuff. I mean, you know, we put our best parts and pieces on every time we go to the starting line because, truthfully, we don't have a whole lot more of them than what we got on the car. You know,
right.
But you know, to steal a line from Jim Dunn, when you're on the starting line, you only got one of everything. It's just crazy, you know, that this little team, and you know, I'm so proud of the people involved with it. But it's hard. I mean, you know, the budget that we're racing against is incredible.
Clay, you mentioned, or Doug mentioned, a really good start to 2018. 2 poles out of 3 races. In that third race, actually the one at Phoenix, you guys were way off and qualified third. So I mean, it was it's been a really good start, but it's just fine tuning the consistency of that raw horsepower that you guys are putting out. What are Grubby and the guys right now working on to try to fine tune that consistency?
I mean, to be honest, we went into Gainesville and he told me, he said, you know, I don't necessarily think that we're even going to try to qualify number 1. He's like, I got to learn how to slow this car down. The only thing it wants to do is run 360. You know, it's just, I mean, to quote him, this thing is out of control. You know, I mean, it's fast. It's making obviously a lot of power. And one thing that we have done that this car's never done since Grubby's been tuning a car is suddenly we're running speed. I mean, you know, we set the ET record last year at 363, and I think we went 330 miles an hour. And all of a sudden we go to Phoenix, and we go 335. So my career best jumped by 5 miles an hour. And you guys know a 5 mile an hour jump is a lot. It's a lot. Oh, and so he's trying to, you know, harness the thing a little bit and calm it down. And at Gainesville, when we qualified number 1, I'm like, well, what in the world? You know, how'd that happen? But you know, it's the biggest thing that, you know, people always think, oh, you know, team cars can all run better. And they can if a car gets lost. But the truth is, all those cars are not tuned the same. I mean, you look at all the Schumacher dragsters or whichever team you want to look at. You know, yeah, they kind of share what they're doing. But the biggest advantage, in my opinion, is track conditions. You know, car A knows car B is set up to run 370. If he goes out there and smokes the tires, or he goes out there and goes 375, well, they know already, hey, that car A was set up to go 370 and he had a problem, or either he went slow. So that gives them a huge advantage over a single car team, and that does make a difference. It's not necessarily, you know, how you tune the things, but track conditions. I mean, because that's something that, you know, everybody's got these little machines that they twist and kind of get a gauge of, you know, the adhesion of the track, that sort of thing, but there's nothing like that car going down the racetrack to tell you what's really happening with the surface.
Hey, Clay, one of the things that everybody that follows you on social media sees, you're always going around. You're visiting people at Great Clips. You're going to Denso Auto Part things. You're going to Parts Plus stores. What do you got coming up in Vegas? You're going out there and helping your sponsors and getting them excited about the drag race.
Well, it is the Denso Auto Parts National. So, I mean, you know, it's tough duty. I tell you, I've got to go out there and race in the sponsor race on Thursday. And I really love those things. And I may have been known to sandbag a time or two, you know, because it's like, am I really supposed to win this or not? You know, these people support the race car, but I have a blast. I mean, we'll spend all day Thursday. I'm taking over Denso's Instagram account on Thursday evening. We do the sponsor race, and then we'll have a lot of Denso people. You know, Doug, last year, you know, you kind of mentioned that. Last year we did the whole, they called it a road show. We took the dragster and we took a brakes set up, and we visited, I think, a dozen Denso Auto Parts manufacturing facilities all over the country, even up into Canada. Wow. I mean, Denso is a very, very large company. They make all kinds of parts. Pretty much, I don't care what brand of car you're driving. If you're driving anything, it's got a Denso part in there somewhere, whether you know it or not. I mean, they make so many things that people don't even realize, but it's fun. I mean, I'm glad they're involved in NHRA. You know, they stepped up. They're sponsoring the 200 mile an hour club for the Pro Stock motorcycles. They're sponsoring Angie Smith in Pro Stock motorcycles, and they've been involved with our car for a long time. as well, last year they stepped up and got very involved with brakes. I mean, I'm proud to be associated with Denso.
Well, you know what? We are too. We're glad that you are, and you do a great job with them. We're looking forward to coming to Breaks in October 2021, and good luck this weekend out in Las Vegas, Clay.
I am looking forward to it, and I tell you what I'm really planning on doing is being on y'all's show next week with another Wally set.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
See, it's only 3 rounds. You only have to win 3 rounds out there to get the win instead of 4, so that should be easier, right?
It is. I mean, I did that 50-something times in the IHRA. I love 3-round races.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're expecting good things, and we'll talk to you next week. How's that?
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much, and for letting me come on all the time. I enjoy the show. Y'all have a fun day.
Clay Millican, driver of the Great Clips Parts Plus Top Fuel Dragster for Stringer Performance, and headed out to Las Vegas, where they're always having a good time. Speaking of a good time, get your tickets now for the Country 500 at Daytona International Speedway, Memorial Day weekend, May 25th, 26th, and 27th. Dirk Bentley, Chris Stapleton, Toby Keith, Sugarland, Billy Currington are just some of the major acts that you will see there. Go to country500.com for more information. A great show already underway, and more to come with funny car driver Tommy Johnson Jr.
If your wiper blades are worn and streaking, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and save $8 instantly on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades. Improve visibility and save money with Rain-X Latitude wiper blades. Plus, take advantage of our free wiper blade installation. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Grunt style. The American fighting spirit is in everything we make. We are 500 patriots and veterans strong, bringing clothing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We are Grunt Style, and this we'll defend. Get yours at gruntstyle.com.
Country 500 Music Festival is back at Daytona International Speedway with Toby Keith, Chris Stapleton, Dirk Bentley, Sugarland, Billy Currington, and so much more. Country 500 Memorial Day weekend, May 25th, 26th, and 27th. For tickets and information, visit country500.com. Sponsored in part by Budweiser. Welcome back to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's more with Marty Hough and Doug Herbert.
Big thanks to Clay Millican for joining us on The Straight Line as he's heading out to Las Vegas and going to have a really good time out there. 4-wide racing. And Doug, we don't get the opportunity to talk about this much, but when you go 4-wide racing, it's really different from 2-wide racing. It's not just let's just stage things up and take off. There's a routine that has to be done, and when you have 4 cars out there, man, those routines can get upset.
Well, generally you're racing against one opponent, so you have a pretty good idea about the amount of time that it takes them between starting the car, doing the burnout, backing up, pulling and actually lighting the stage light. Teams are different, probably between 90 seconds to a little over 100 seconds, but everybody's a little bit different on how they do things, and that timing is very critical. Nitro weighs 10 pounds per gallon, especially on the dragster. The fuel tank's way in the front of the car. It's a lot of leverage, keeping the front end down, very important for weight and balance. It's critical how long the car runs. You have to stage the car and hit the throttle in a certain amount of time. When you're only racing one car, you know what they do. You talk to the crew chief right before you start up. Everybody's on the same page. Well, now all of a sudden you got 3 crew chiefs to talk to. Okay, you starting first. Who's going second? You going third? So you've got to be ready. And then a lot of times we see one car will have a problem. They won't be able to start it good, or they won't be able to get in reverse right, or whatever. Well, now you're holding up 3 other cars. So the starter responsibility is a little bit more. And they've got 2 starters on most of the 4-way. They've got a main starter, and then they've got a secondary starter. So there's a lot of things to think about. Things happen really quick. Staging the cars is a little bit different because the drivers get distracted because there's 8 staging lights. 2 for the left, 2 lanes, 2 for the right, 2 lanes. So it's more to think about. the bottom line, I was good enough or lucky enough to go to the final round at the first ever 4-wide race that we had here at ZMAX. And the first thing you have to do is, you know what? I'm racing in one lane. I'm focused on my light, and I'm not worrying about anything else. And as long as you do that, you're going to be okay. But it's easy to say. It's a little hard to do.
Yeah.
There's more noise. You see cars on the left of you and the right of you. It's, there's more to think about. The key is, focusing on your lane, what you're doing, because really there's only one thing that counts. It's your car, your light, your lane. That's it.
Right. And the challenges for the drivers are when are the distractions, and when you get in, I believe it's either the lane 2 or lane 3, where you're actually looking across the lanes at the wall, where you don't normally do that.
Yeah, but it's no different really than being in the right or left lane. So I don't think that it's really as far as racing, it's no big deal. Where it does come into effect is when your car smokes the tires. And, because you don't know, because in 4-wide racing, there's a first place, a second place, a third place, and a fourth place. And when we raced over here, we talked about it on the show. I raced Antron Brown, first round, second round, and final round. I raced the same guy 3 times. I think I might have beat him one round, and then he beat me one round, and then in the final, I don't remember who won that race. I think Corey McClenathan or Doug Cletta won the race. But what I'm getting at is you have to get to the finish line.
Yeah.
Even second to the finish line is okay. So this car next to you, you can't see him. Doesn't mean you're okay, because maybe only one of these cars in the other 2 lanes on the other side of the tall wall that you can see. As long as you get to the finish line, basically, first or second, you're going to move to the next round. So the smoking the tires thing gets a little bit critical, because you have to get to the finish line, because second place is still good enough.
Yeah, and you can't see all the cars around you, so you don't know.
Right.
And so you've got it.
Basically, it's like two drag strips in the car. So you can see the car in your side. Like if you're in lane 1 or 2, you can see those cars, lane 1 or 2. If you're in lane 3 or 4, you can see those 2 cars, lane 3 or 4. There's a large wall in between lane 2 and lane 3. It's the same size wall as what is on the side of the track, where, obviously when we're drag racing each other, there's no wall in between, the 2 cars that are racing each other. So you can't really see very well over the top of the wall, is what we're getting at.
Yeah, and so no matter what, you got to get back into the gas.
You got to get in it, because you have to get to the finish line, because even second place, you're going to move on.
Right.
So first round, instead of smoking the tires and you're done, well, you smoke the tires and you still beat the other 2 guys that had a problem on the starting line. You move on to the second round.
Another issue, and this is more for teams, but a little bit for drivers, is that you only get one chance down each one of the lanes. Normally, in a 2-wide race, you're in both lanes twice during the weekend. Get a little more data. Here, it's only once, and especially now for Las Vegas, because these are brand new lanes. It's going to be really interesting to find out how these teams do going down one time in each one of the lanes.
Well, and Vegas was one of the first tracks to have a tunnel underneath from one side of the track to the other. So there's actually a tunnel or 2 tunnels going from one side of the track to the other. Now we have one also in Charlotte, but there might be some other places, but Charlotte and Vegas are the only ones that I know of. At any rate, where typically it goes over that bump. Oh, yeah, Bristol. Where it goes over that bump, the land settles, things happen. The first year is probably not going to be a problem, because it's a new track. By next year, things will settle, and there'll be a little lip or something, basically a ski jump that your cars go off. And it seems to aggravate the Pro Stock cars and the funny cars a little more than the dragsters. The dragsters are kind of flexible, and they're able to get over those little bumps without having a big problem. That's really, the year a few years ago at Charlotte, we had the track was pulling up.
Yeah.
So that was a disadvantage in lane 3 over here. I remember, because I happened to get in lane 3, and it cost me a
qualifying
critical
spot.
run. Yeah. But that's probably not going to be the case at Vegas. They know how to do this now.
Yeah.
They've been doing it plenty of times. All 4 lanes are going to be very, I would say they're going to be all equal or real close.
Yeah. It should be a really interesting weekend for a lot of different reasons. First time 4-wide racing. 4-wide is unique in and to itself, and then when you're doing it for the first time at a particular track, that just throws in one more
everybody on the
level
West
of
Coast.
challenge.
Yeah, everybody on the West Coast. I mean, West Coast, right? Drag racing, first drag races for you nostalgia people that are listening. Santa Ana, Orange County, John Wayne International Airport. That was where the first sanctioned drag race took place, 1949. Drag racing started in, who knows where drag racing started whenever they built the second car. But sanctioned drag racing started at Orange County International Airport back in the 40s. And so, Southern California was kind of the birthplace of that. Yeah. Four-lane drag racing was started here. Well, I don't know if it started here. There's some four-lane stuff been around, but really the first big-time four-lane drag race here in Charlotte, now in Las Vegas.
Yep, and it should be interesting. Looking forward to it, and we will talk to the winners next week here on The Straight Line. When we return, more of the program coming up.
Things happen fast in racing, and if you don't know where to look, you can miss it all. With Legend from Racing Electronics, you'll never miss another moment. Legend gives you live fan vision video, in-car cameras, and stats at premier National Series events. And the next generation race scanner for unfiltered driver and crew audio at any motorsports event nationwide. Race fans have never been closer to the action. Welcome to the future of the fan experience. Learn more by visiting racingelectronics.com.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
If your wiper blades are worn and streaking, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and save $8 instantly on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades. Improve visibility and save money with Rain-X Latitude wiper blades. Plus, take advantage of our free wiper blade installation. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now, back to Marty Hough and Doug Herbert.
Appreciate you being here on The Straight Line here on Thursday afternoon, along with everything that is happening at Las Vegas in the drag strip. There is the K&N Horsepower Challenge, which is an extra $50,000 for 8 Pro Stock teams. And we'll get to the ladders on that here in just a second. But for Pro Stock teams, and Ken Black has been leading the charge in Pro Stock for many, many, many years. And so it's very appropriate that I think that the K&N Horsepower Challenge happen at Las Vegas.
Right. Well, yeah. So Las Vegas, like you say, is Ken Black's hometown track for KB Racing Team, Jason Line, Greg Anderson. That's their, that's kind of their hometown. Those guys work out of North Carolina, not far from the MRN headquarters here. Right. But Ken Black's headquarters is in Las Vegas. So that's hence the probably one of the reasons why they have it out there. And it's I think where are they going to do it? At Indy? Well, at Indy they've got the bike deal and they've got the motorcycle, the funny car, Big Bud shootout or whatever they call it now. I'm still old school. I call them Bush cars and Cup cars, whatever.
Oh yeah.
But at any rate, I think it's just it makes that first Vegas race a little bit more special. They probably weren't planning on it being 4-wide when they decided that it was going to be there. So now they've got all this extra stuff going on. And as we were talking about during the break, how are they going to run that shootout? 2-wide, 4-wide? I don't know. My guess is that they'll have to do something 2-wide or at least time them independently. I'm not sure what they're going to do. Yeah,
and so for the Pro Stock teams, here's how they'll line up. And first of all, congratulations to Vincent Nobile, who was voted in. They had 7 drivers in and then 1 going in on a fan vote. Vincent Nobile won the fan vote, so he will take on the number 1 qualifier, the defending champion, Bo Butner. Others, Greg Anderson will take on Erica Enders. That'll be fun because there's no love lost there, and my guess is that there may be some starting line games being played there. Just maybe a little heads up there. Jason Line will take on Jeg Coughlin. And Tanner Gray, who is the defending winner of this race in the Pro Stock category, will take on Drew Skillman. They're both getting power out of the same shop. That ought to be interesting as well. When we return, more of the program coming up.
If your wiper blades are worn and streaking, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and save $8 instantly on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades. Improve visibility and save money with Rain-X Latitude wiper blades. Plus, take advantage of our free wiper blade installation. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Grunt style. The American fighting spirit is in everything we make. We are 500 patriots and veterans strong, bringing clothing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We are Grunt Style, and this we'll defend. Get yours at gruntstyle.com.
The race weekend doesn't have to end with the checkered flag. Carry the action over into Monday with MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Log on to MRN.com and join veteran broadcaster Woody Kane and NASCAR spotter Joey Meyer as they review the race weekend and debate the biggest stories of the week ahead. Plus, some of the biggest names in the sport stop by to talk the latest topics. Make Monday your new favorite weekday with MRN Motorsports Monday at noon Eastern or anytime on demand at MRN.com. You're staged and ready for another run on the straight line. Brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's Doug and Marty.
Big thanks to Clay Millican for joining us on the straight line this week. And all of our guests come to you via the Racing Electronics hotline. Racing Electronics provides the best communication equipment and technology to professional teams and drivers. That's the very same technology. It's still available in the products that they offer to race fans. Visit racingelectronics.com to learn more. And speaking of great sponsors, since day one, O'Reilly Auto Parts has been here on the straight line, keeping this show afloat, and has been, like I said, since day one. So this is our opportunity to give a big thumbs up to O'Reilly Auto Parts in our segment that we like to call Red Light, Green Light. And our red light this week is our good friend Robbie Mays. This is his last show here on the straight line. Now, you've probably seen Robbie more in front of the camera this year than behind it, because he's been filling in for me for various reasons. But behind the camera this week, and Robbie Mays has been a big part of this show for a long time, and this is his last show. Moving on to greener pastures, so we're going to miss him.
Yeah, we're bummed to see him go, and but I think he's got a good opportunity coming up, so everybody will be looking forward to his new stuff.
Yep, and so a big thanks to him for everything that he has done for us here on the straight line. So big thanks to everybody involved in this week's show, including and big thanks to Robbie Mays and Darrell Smith for what they have done here on the straight line. And joining us right now, real quick, as we're going to wrap up the show, is the defending winner of the funny car category at Las Vegas. He's the driver of the Make-A-Wish Dodge for Don Schumacher Racing. Tommy Johnson Jr. joins us. TJ, how are you?
I'm good, but late.
Well, don't be late this weekend.
Yeah, don't be late this weekend. Yeah.
I know I'm getting it out of the way now.
That's good.
Last time we're late.
Get it out of the way now. Hey, so last year you got the win at the first Las Vegas race, and now going back out there, a little bit different with the 4-wide race. What's your feelings on the 4-wide and going back to Vegas is somewhere where you're comfortable?
Man, I love the track in Vegas. It's the tracks that you always do well at, you love the most, and seem to go there and always perform really well. And it's going to be great to go back this year 4-wide. Something different. Last year won the thing when it was 2-wide, and I'd love to go back and see if we can't get a 4-wide win there. And been able to do the 4-wide at Charlotte the last few years, and I kind of like it. I mean, there's an added element of, an advantage. It's a lot more work as a driver, paying attention on the starting line, and requires you to really have your act together. And if you can do that and maybe get an advantage, I'm all for it.
Tommy, you're one of the rare guys that have won in both dragsters and funny cars. With the 4-wide format, I'm guessing, and I'll ask guys who's been in both, that it's got to be a little bit tougher in a funny car just because of the limited sight lines you have in a funny car driving 4-wide.
Yeah, it is a little bit. If you can see the guy in front of you, you're in trouble. But you cannot. Like if you're in lane 3, it's pretty hard to see lane 1. It's pretty hard to see over there. So. It is. It brings in the element on race day. You have to just continually try to get the finish line. A lot of times, if you see the other guy, he's going down there, you just give up. It's not worth blowing the engine up. But in 4-wide, you get a second chance. If you finish second, you're moving on to the next round. So you've got to stay with it. No matter what, one race day, you've got to try to get the thing to finish line the best you can. And I've actually been able to count cars before going down through there, going, okay, nope, we're good. So. It works, You can see enough to kind of have an idea what's going on. I even saw Caps hit the wall one year, so I knew I was into the next round.
Tommy, tell us about your car, the sponsor on your car, very special with Make-A-Wish. Terry Chandler's continued to fund that. You guys bring a lot of the kids out to the races. You've done different things, putting them in the car and so forth. Tell us a little bit about that relationship and how you guys are able to make an impact on some of these kids coming along.
What Terry did to kind of donate our car to charity and give it away to Make-A-Wish and be able to do a lot of functions and a lot of things with the kids that are going through some tough times, and it's been a real honor. And going to Vegas is actually going back to where we granted our first wish as our race team. Austin wanted to be a race car driver and win a trophy for his team, and we were able to make that happen for him. And just a great organization, does great things, and we entertain a group of kids every Saturday at the races and bring them and their families out and let them enjoy the day at the racetrack and just be normal and cheer on the Make-A-Wish team. And it's just been a pleasure. I saw the list. We've got, I think, about 8 kids coming this Saturday. So just a great thing that Terry Chandler did, and it's unfortunate she's not here to enjoy it with us anymore, but her husband, Doug, is going to carry that on for her.
TJ, real quick, 3 races in. I know that's not a lot of races to kind of get a gauge on your season, but just kind of give us a quick ballpark figure on how the Make-A-Wish team is doing so far in 2018.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. We've got a runner-up already. We, had an issue in the final round in Phoenix. I think we could have won that race, but, we haven't performed like the level we want, but optimistically, I think we found our problem. After we were beaten in Gainesville, the car shouldn't have done what it did, and they spent all night on Sunday night trying to figure out why, and we kind of found something that had been happening all season, and this should help us a lot. So I'm really excited actually to go to Vegas. I want to get this thing out there and see if we've cured this problem, and I look forward to good performance. I said the other day, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we're number one qualifier on Friday night. So I think this is going to be a thing that's been holding us up. But even with that, we've had okay success, and it's just we're usually late bloomers. So, we take a little while to get going. So I'm pretty happy so far to have a final round already.
Well, Tommy's sitting 6th in points, already one runner-up this year. Good luck going out to Vegas, defending the race win in the spring out there from last year, and good luck with the 4-wide.
I appreciate it, man. I got a 2-wide trophy out there. I want to bring home a 4-wide trophy this time.
Tommy Johnson Jr., driver of the Make-A-Wish Dodge for Don Schumacher Racing, joining us on the straight line. And he brings up a really good point, is that there's only one first time. This is the first time that they're going 4-wide racing in Las Vegas. And I know you drivers like to be the number one guy. If you win the trophy at Las Vegas this weekend, you're the first and only guy to win the first 4-wide at Las Vegas.
Well, that's right. Anytime there's a special race or a special first race of the season, right? Winter Nationals. Everybody likes winning Winter Nationals because you start out, you're leading the points, you leave the first race with the only person to have a win of the year. So that's kind of special. But having a first wide inaugural race, you go to wherever it is. I can think back the first time being at a lot of the different races. Chicago, I raced at the first race there the first NHRA race in Norwalk, the first NHRA race here in Charlotte. So, Chicago, the list goes on. But at any rate, winning that inaugural first race, that's cool because, like I say, it only happens one time.
Yeah, and so I think there's going to be a lot on the line this week at Las Vegas. The first time that they've ever run 4 wide there. So
for fans that are in Las Vegas, you can actually go to many of the casinos and place bets on your favorite driver. So if you're in Vegas, go to the casino, place a bet on your favorite driver, and hey, you never know, it could be a payday.
Yeah, along with everything else. So we'll have all the news and the and winners from the 4 wides at Las Vegas. So again, big thanks to everybody involved, including Robbie Mays and Daryl Smith. For Doug Herbert, I am Marty Hough, and we will talk to you next week here on MRN.com and The Straight Line.